Today we explore the intersection of fashion, self-identity, and cultural expression within the Black Student Alliance at George Mason University. The BSA is driven by shared cultural ideals through historical resilience, activism, and artistic self-expression. The fashion show From Lust to Love, Journey Through Emotions connects students through shared experiences that values and fosters outlets to promote strong, diverse communities. The fashion industry is an influential, multifaceted culture that connects fashion, art, and movement in order to intertwine and tell a story through cultural experimentation, personal identity, and universal trends. Here today, we have three guests to give us further insight into how this affects our fashion industry.
Okay, hi and welcome. Today we are going to be discussing the BSA fashion show, diving in from lust to anger and sadness to love. Today we have a special guest.
I'm Jay. I was a model in the fashion show.
He's going to be helping us out answering a few questions today. Let's get started. How do you describe your involvement with the BSA's overall message, and how does this event hold meaning to you?
Well, the BSA has always been about bringing the Black people on campus closer together and giving them a community here. So participating in this and doing exactly that, building that community, building these friendships with these people, that to me is exactly in line with the message. And the event really held meaning for me just to be able to not only do this with members of the community, people who live around here, but even just to do it through fashion, which has always been a big staple in our community, and with music, which is another thing that is so big for us. It was fun to have all that come together.
I love that. It really sounds like you guys are instead of a community, kind of family.
No, yeah, those are a lot of them I'm still close with now, and we even text often, even just going through the course of the thing, within the first 2 months, I think I was going to events with these people, that was just the nature of what we were doing every day. And when you're so vulnerable with people, it's almost you can't help but get close, because if you've seen me have to really put myself out there, you can't forget me after that. So.
Well, that's great. So you guys really help each other out.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So how do you navigate your self-image, and how does this association help express that?
Well, recently I've been trying to lean more into what my actual brand is, which I think as far as at least socially is creative stuff. So the modeling, the fashion, the music, all of that, I think has played a big role in my self-image. So going forward, the images that are on my social media that I choose to put out there of myself are very carefully curated, just to give that image of you know me more in real life. You can't get to know me through social media.
Yeah.
So I want the image to reflect pretty much just someone who does this, likes to look good, and that's that. And I think the association with the club even really helped that in just giving me the confidence to have that be my self-image. My features, or even me as physically being my selling point, is never something I would have done before the fashion show.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I think especially changing your social media, that's very curated to what this fashion show brings to the table and how it breaks societal norms and cultural standards within the fashion industry, but it also establishes professionalism and helps build your profile and attract people who you want to work with that has like-minded feelings about these topics.
So how does this event align to the larger mission with the BSA and advocating for cultural diversity and addressing concerns within our society?
Well, large part of this shoot right off the bat is confidence. I mean, you have to have confidence to do anything that involves you presenting your image, but especially coming with all different sorts of body types, or even just sorts of social comfort naturally, to be able to all reach the same end product, which is just walking in this show in these clothes in public and getting our posing for pictures. like to be able to all do that and to all come from different backgrounds as far as doing stuff like this. I mean, even me, I was not comfortable doing stuff like this before I got in there, but there were people who've been doing this since they were like 5, also doing this. And but at the end of it, we both have to walk. So that, I guess, addresses the bigger concern of like body positivity, but even just I guess the need to shy away from certain things or not be as bold or as expressive. I think that this helping Black kids with that is especially most important. So BSA doing that and having this show, that really, I think, on a deeper level than just like doing the show, contributes to a larger mission.
Yeah, it really inspires like the youth and the next generation to like, change these like constructs of our society. So you were mentioning earlier that you guys all support one another. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think for the first day, I was crazy. I was the only guy in rehearsal, so I wasn't even nervous because it was women around. That was actually comfortable, but I was nervous because there was no one to compare what I'd be doing versus what they'd be doing. So I felt like it was automatically less impressive. I just felt more conscious about it at the time. But the girls, right from day one, were so like nice and supportive, and helpful, just in making that whole process like not something to be embarrassed of if you feel like you did it wrong, or even if you don't, just feeling like embarrassed if you did it anyway. Like, they are good about not making that a thing at all. They will clap, they will cheer, they will support you, they will give you advice, they'll tell you did a good job. Like, that group never had to worry, I think, about someone feeling like someone was judging them or that they couldn't be expressive, because especially with how comfortable we all were with each other, it's not like we ever had to worry about, oh, am I doing this? Is this embarrassing? What are they gonna think? Like, we were all very much in support of the expression that we were all trying to accomplish.
Everyone always had each other's backs.
No, absolutely.
So the fashion industry thrives on relevance and recognition. How do you or the BSA plan to continue to drive towards this goal?
Yeah, well, for me personally, relevance has never really been a problem, but as far as building my brand now, getting, I think, those, like, diving more into it and getting those collaborations and just constantly improving upon this newfound, like, passion and, just, like, diving more into the industry and meeting the right people and eventually getting those connects, like, that all, to me, will help with the recognition and the relevance and all that. As far as BSA, they're always going to try to do stuff to keep the culture at the forefront. And fashion is just always something that Black people have always used to navigate doing that. So it's just going to be a natural extension of their club at any given point.
That's great. That's great. So do you think you're breaking away from this industry or going with the grain?
I think I'm going with the grain, but I think I want to learn as much as possible so that I can do it my own way. And not even just so I can just not do what other people did, but I feel like there are certain things about this industry that I really like and that I find beautiful and amazing. And there are certain things about it that I think could be even better, not necessarily that they're bad. And there are certain things that we definitely need to address and clock, but that will happen on its own time. But definitely not breaking away from it, but more so just trying to find a way to navigate it that works for me.
Okay, and so last question before we end today's adventures. Does BSA conform to societal expectations of the fashion industry, or do they form a rebellion against cultural norms to aid a more diverse and inclusive community within the fashion industry?
That's a good question. And I'll say, while they definitely don't conform, because conforming is never going to be something that Black people like do when it comes to fashion. It's weird because it's not even like rebellion, but it's like embracing whatever aspects of fashion we've already created and like enhancing it. So it's never gonna be what anybody expects, but it's also never gonna be like what we're not supposed to wear. Like you will always see, especially Black people, in exactly what we're supposed to have, and that is what makes it a diverse and inclusive industry. I think if we were trying to either conform or rebel in some way, it just always ends up putting us in a box. So the fact that we're able to do both if we wanted almost, but also do neither, that's what makes us like diverse, and that's what makes us inclusive.
Breaking outside of that box and changing how people view the model's, ideal image.
And things of that nature.
Okay, so thank you so much. It was great talking to you and allowing us, giving us an insight firsthand on someone who's actively a part of the BSA. I look forward.
All right,
Thank
you.
you.
I look forward to you seeing it. Hey, in 5, 4, 3, 2. I know.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is for real.
Okay.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, and welcome back, everybody. Now, next up on the chopping board, we have our guest attendees of the BSA Fashion Show, From Lust to Anger and Sadness to Love.
Hi, I'm Betsy. I'm a sophomore at George Mason.
Hi, I'm Kiara. I'm also a sophomore at George Mason.
Okay, and first up, what key social dynamics of the modeling community do you think are most important, and how does the BSA community support this?
Well, I'd say the most important dynamics of modeling are inclusivity and diversity, because we want to try to break away from the regular standards and include people of different races, backgrounds, body types, etc. And I think BSA supports this because that's what the whole movement is about. We have different people from different backgrounds included in it, and it just makes it a very comfortable and including space.
I totally agree with you. I think that is exactly what we need within this fashion industry at the moment, breaking away from the society's traditional westernized and European standards.
Absolutely, and I think it's really nice that BSA allows anyone to go and be a part of it as well. So it doesn't matter if you've never done it before, if you haven't modeled before, they'll still let you in and be accepting, teach you what you want to know, and overall it's inclusive.
All about inclusivity.
That's right.
Kiara,
Thank you,
do
Dan.
you have anything to add, Betsy?
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with what Kiara was saying. I think that inclusivity and diversity are two extremely important aspects that you have to keep in mind when putting on an event like this. And I think that it really showed when I went and saw.
How do you think the BSA fashion show helps build model self-image within this industry and breaking unconventional standards?
I think that's really what we just talked about, like the whole inclusivity and diversity of it all. Showing a wide range of people are just like examples of what, a strong, powerful model and like, the potential that you could have is really powerful, and it sends like a really strong message to the audience.
Yeah, we're tired of seeing the same person every single time walk across the stage, aren't we? Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Kiara?
Well, I think BSA does a really good job of making sure that everybody's properly included. My cousin was telling me, he was the one who was previously here, how going in BSA, he never thought that he would do something like modeling or be able to get those type of pictures taken and whatnot, be able to do photo shoots and everything. And it's kind of inspired me to want to do the same thing just like him, kind of follow in his footsteps, because I know it's somewhere that I'll feel welcome. And I like that it gets people to see themselves in a beautiful light and understand that they are beautiful themselves too, and that they're capable just as much as anyone else of being in the industry.
I agree with that. It's not only about making the industry more inclusive, but it's also about giving opportunities to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, how did you think the BSA fashion show, From Lust to Anger and Sadness to Love, impacted you? What did it mean to you personally, and how could you see the show come to life during the event?
Okay, so I had never been to a fashion show before, so I really didn't know what to expect. But I personally found it extremely impactful because you do realize when you're there that like it really is a form of art, and in like the same sense that when you're walking around a museum and you like are staring at a piece for minutes and having a personal connection with it, that's really what you feel each time a new person walks out, because they curate their version of like their interpretation of the emotion of what the segment is themed. Like it's so individualized to them that like you feel like you were trying to like figure it out and then like make a personal connection with it. So it's almost like it was very surreal, because it was like you're realizing that like this is so meaningful. It's not just like people walking out in outfits. It's really they're portraying a message and they're doing it so differently every single time. So it's really a lot of talent.
Yeah, they're almost doing it through like storytelling.
Yeah,
which
almost.
is,
They're like telling a story with their walk.
Yeah. It was very visually interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Say absolutely. The fashion show beat all of my expectations and beyond. When I went in there and they first started going off and I saw the different lightings and realized how they were portraying each emotion, you could see it was also personalized to each individual that was walking in the show. You could see them expressing their emotions and showing their way of doing things while still being on theme, and I thought that was really beautiful. I felt personally it affected me because I saw a lot of people who I've seen just walking around the hallways and doing this powerful, beautiful thing and getting able to see them in such a different light, and I felt like that was really inspiring because I thought, hey, I'm just like them, I could do that too. And I love being able to see my emotions portrayed in such a unique way and really bringing our emotions to life through love and lust, jealousy, anger, all the emotions. And I say it was personalized to the point where there was one song that went on and all of us knew it was my cousin who was going to walk out during that song.
I love that. So it's almost like each emotion perfectly portrayed the model that
Absolutely.
was walking.
Yes.
So it was very curated.
Yes.
All right, and our last question of the evening: does BSA conform to societal expectations within the fashion industry, or does it form a rebellion against societal norms to aid and help shape careers and for a more diverse and inclusive community?
Well, I think that naturally any group that represents a minority community is in some form defying societal expectations by just purely existing. And I think that like they're taking a step forward by putting on these events and showcasing like all of their individual talents and how much there is to this group. And that's why I think like in that manner, like it really does like go against what the Western media is used to portraying and exposing people to.
Yeah, and it's almost like they used emotions to be able to portray like the roller coaster of feelings, like the roller coaster of feelings of like how you feel when it's a part of a community that's not so much portrayed in industries that you look up to so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you, Kiara?
In my opinion, I think BSA goes completely opposite against the grain of what everyone expects them to do, because BSA was started on campus by a group of people who wanted to make an impact and make a change within their own community, and then now it's branched out to so many different places. It's branched out to BSA dance team, the BSA photography clubs, the modeling places, the fashion shows. All that stuff has been created through one small group of people, and I feel like nobody expects that from people, especially in a minority. As a Black woman myself, I know a lot of times the expectations for what I was capable of are way lower than what I actually am capable of, and seeing that and being a part of that has been extremely inspirational, and I think it's really beautiful.
I agree. That was amazing, guys.
I also forgot what the question was while I was saying the
No,
answer.
it's okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us,
Mhm.
or joining me. I really appreciated getting further insight into the fashion show and what you guys thought of it. And I hope to look forward to more BSA events.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.